This episode is dedicated to the conservative Sims, specifically the ones that went at my neck for calling out Lila Rose. I've always said Lila Rose is probably one of the bigger grifters out there, probably the biggest grifter out there, but she just doesn't get the credit because she knows how to mask her feminism. She knows how to mask. Well, first of all, we talking about women that are like 30 plus, particularly white women. They know the game. They know how to work y'all Sims. But anyways, she went viral for this video. It's gonna be her and her married co-host because they're both married. Both of them lusting over a priest, and then in the same breath saying that men don't really need sex. This is y'all favorite conservatives, right? Specifically Lila Rose, but we gonna let this video play. We gonna let it play out.
Can we all talk about Father Mike Schmitz?
I showed him to a girlfriend who's not Catholic, and she's like, when's mass?
What about the man needing sex? That's just a cultural narrative that basically says men are like animals and they have to be able to do this sexual thing, otherwise they're going to go crazy. And the reality is there's whole vocations that are celibate. And these are virile men, men's men. Some of the most masculine men I know are priests. We need food. We need air to breathe. We don't need sex.
It's a gift
of coming together, and it's designed to bring life into the world.
I think the sexiest thing about a guy is like their self-control. And my husband has amazing self-control. So after baby number 4, when we started practicing NFP, it was like we couldn't do it sometimes when we wanted to. And that kind of made things a little steamier, like not gonna lie. It's hard on him too. Don't get me wrong. People will say, well, oh, do you just do other things for your husband?
Isn't that damning? Isn't that damning on Lila Rose and that other broad too? I don't know what her name is, but it's interesting because Lila Rose, she doubled down, right, with the caption. She goes, "Men don't need sex." This is y'all favorite. These are the conservatives, their favorite conservative broad. She goes, "Men don't need sex. Our culture is so hypersexualized that the idea of a celibate priest leaves people in disbelief as if it's impossible. That's heartbreaking. Have we really forgotten that self-control and virtue are within reach?" Anyway, so in defense of the priest that she found attractive, she's going to just stand on this thing that says men don't need sex. Okay, she goes, "Look at Jesus Christ, the most perfect man to ever walk the earth. Was celibate?" Well, it wasn't specific in the Bible that he was celibate. It just said that he did not sin. He was without sin. Now, is to not be celibate is a sin? Who knows? We don't know. But it was interesting that he had a prostitute in his group of people that he was traveling with. Anyways, according to the book y'all stand on. Anyways, he said the most perfect man to ever walk the earth was celibate and sinless before he was crucified for our sins. Shouldn't he be the supreme model for manhood, self-mastery, discipline, total self-gift, all out of love? Now, you know what was interesting? Well, Jesus didn't have a wife as well. So I don't think that's the best defense for you, because really her thing is she's trying to justify why low key what she's trying to do is try to justify why men don't really need sex as much as they think they do. And that's what usually women in their 30s that are, past the wall, this is what they usually try to push on men. You know what I mean? So that's what she's trying to do. But what's interesting, I used to say, well, technically Jesus Christ was MGTOW. He didn't have a wife, and look how far he went. So I don't think that's necessarily the best example to use, because Jesus Christ is an example of a person that really didn't need a woman per se to get to the heights that where he got to, right? So I don't think that's a good idea. But anyways, it says priests choose celibacy so their hearts can belong entirely to God, as St. Paul writes in 1 Corinthians 7:32-35. I want you to be free from anxieties. The unmarried man is anxious about the things of the Lord, how to please the Lord, but the married man is anxious about worldly things, how to please his wife, and his interests are divided. I say this for you, for your own benefit, to secure your undivided devotion to the Lord. Well, I know people use that verse, but technically, it's just saying don't put your wife over what. Don't let a bitch go against what God told you to do. That's literally what it's technically. That's how I looked at the verse. But I don't know. They've used that. Priests have used that as one of the verses unto why the priests are celibate. But then that's just me. Okay, those abstinence isn't just for priests. Intermittent abstinence can also be a beautiful practice within marriage if a couple has a serious reason to delay bringing a baby into the world when practicing natural family planning. Okay, I'm done. Anyways, let's review the video one more time. Let's review natural family planning. Okay, and anywho, poor husbands. Anyway, poor husbands. Let's review the thing before I throw up. Here we go.
Can we all talk about Father Mike Schmitz? I showed him to a girlfriend who's not Catholic, and she's like, when's mass?
So the only reason why that other girl brought him up is because Father Schmidt, whatever that guy's name is, been racing through her mind all day.
What about the man needing sex? That's just a cultural narrative that basically says men are like animals and they have to be able to do the sexual thing. Otherwise,
Miss, I hope you're not holding back on the sex with your husband. But I'm pretty sure, like, Lila Rose, she's the type to do that. She's definitely the type to do that. Not tonight. She's definitely the type to do that. But what I keep trying to tell people is, like, Lila Rose was different before she was married. I guarantee you, before she was married or before she was looking for her her beta husband, she was different. The Chads and the Tyrones of her past, trust me, she wasn't on some, oh, we gotta wait, let's wait a while and all that. Dudes aren't falling for that nonsense no more, man.
they're gonna go crazy. And the reality is there's whole vocations that are celibate. And these are virile men's men.
So she uses priests to basically excuse the fact that, oh, I don't have to be sleeping with my husband all the time. Well, technically that's your job, but that's a whole other issue. But ma'am, go sleep. Like I said, ma'am, Lila Rose and the other girl, go sleep with your husbands, please. I mean, this stuff is getting embarrassing.
Those masculine men I know are priests. We need food. We need air to breathe. We don't need sex.
It's a gift.
Coming together, and it's designed for life.
Like I said, she says that now. And she says that on camera. But let's keep it. When she says men don't need sex, she just feels like they feel like their husbands that they're with, that they're saddled with, they don't need it. That's what it really is.
I think the sexiest thing about guys, like, their self-control. And my husband has amazing self-control. So after
Yikes. So we already know her husband is barely getting any sex. Because remember, they've done like graphs, they show like, or tallies, they've done surveys where they'll ask, okay, how much, like they'll ask like that. They were asking like the average married couple, how many times a week you're having sex, or sorry, how many times a month you're having sex. And they felt like a healthy amount of time was like 4 or 5 a month. I was like, oh, a month, 4 or 5 times, what? And they felt like that was a decent amount. So they don't even consider that really a sexless marriage. So imagine, that's why I'll be saying, so I'm like, so imagine you married with this chick. This is something that really scared me off, marriage for me specifically. That really scared me off of marriage, where basically the guy is doing the most and he's getting the absolute least. And then especially nowadays, the women now, they don't even want kids. So it's, or I'll see these horror stories on Reddit where it's basically normalized, where the wives are asking their husbands to wear condoms with them. What? When I saw stuff like that, I was like, oh no. I'm like, this guy might as well mess with hookers. What? And I don't even advocate that on the channel. I'm like, the husband got to wear a condom with his wife. What? I'm sitting there like, nah, I'm like, couldn't be me. How can you even be like, people talk about incels and whatnot. How can you look at yourself as above an incel and you're a husband and you got to wear a condom with your wife? But this is the stuff I'll be seeing. I'm like, these are the horror stories that I'm reading and I'm hearing about, and what's normalized. And you're just like, oh, hell no. And then you got the wife calling you a partner, like you're her gay lover. Like, nah, I can't do this. I cannot do this.
baby number 4, when we started practicing NFP, it was like we couldn't do it sometimes when we wanted to. And that kind of made things a little steamier, like, not gonna lie. It's hard on him.
Damn. Her husband being emasculated right in front of everybody.
Him too, don't get me wrong. People will say, well, oh, do you just do other things for your husband?
And I'm pretty sure when Lila Rose was hearing her talk, she just wisely kept quiet. Because she said, okay, this is the full... I surrendered my fertility to God. Here's what happened with Chrissy Horton. Nah, first of all, people keep talking about fertility problems. Well, the reason why you're having fertility problems is because you're waiting until your 30s to have kids. First of all, they're waiting until their 30s to start dating seriously, in terms of dating, looking for marriage. And then by the time they get married, they're like 30, 31, 32 years old. The average age of women getting married now, specifically white women, it's 30 years old. And we already know white women can barely they already have fertility problems just in general. When you look at the history of Caucasian women. So you already have that. And so then now you in your 30s trying to have your first kid. And people are just like, for some reason, they can't fathom why there's a so-called fertility crisis. And just to let you know, when I made those Lila Rose videos, when you type in Lila Rose on my YouTube channel, this video should pop up. And I remember I had to defend Justin Waller because Lila Rose was trying to shame him because he had multiple women and was trying to call into question his masculinity. And it was mostly comments on her side. It was only 2 comments that were on my side, and they still got backlash. So like I said, yeah, these, Lila Rose, she, these are the conservatives, favorite, quote unquote trad wife. But these are scammers, right? These are the hoes that I try to actually veer men away from. I'm like, a woman like that, she's gonna destroy you. Look at what's happening with Steve Crowder right now with his ex-wife, Hillary Crowder.